That was quite a short break that we had here for the Americas Regional Qualifier. We're back with more MLBB action for the women's division, and we kickstarted it off with a solid 3 matches for our teams to kickstart it off. It was Argentina versus Brazil. Brazil eventually taking in the reverse sweep. And speaking of, it's Argentina rather. So Argentina. That being said, they are going to be playing here for the next round. They're going to be going up against
Mm.
Chile in again another best out of the three. No rest for these girls, just that 5 minute break that we had. But of course, to continue their win streak, this is going to be the matchup that we're going to be having. Argentina fresh off the sweep or reverse sweep that they had up against Brazil. Now they're going to be going up against Chile here for the next round, still in a BO3.
With the matches ending minutes before this upcoming match, I feel like there's gonna be some residue, right? Call it fatigue, call it preconceived notions about how to play the game from the first match here that they're gonna be carrying over to Chile. So that can be a plus, that can be a negative. They're definitely warmed up, if anything. They've been playing insane games there in match number one, back and forth again and again. The mechanics are definitely not gonna be cold or like not warmed up. So for Chile, that's the question that they have to go right now. Do they want to try and go for the same strategy? Do they want to try and go for just a straightforward pick-off strat or team fight strat? Because against overwhelming odds, Argentina showing to be one of the favorites right here. Sometimes a simple approach is best without overcomplicating it. But Argentina, though, take a look at their roster here.
Mm-hmm. Let's reintroduce them once again, fresh off their win from Brazil. You got Neosita, Catanita, Riza, Miz, and Nelina playing here for Argentina. And looking at what they've pulled off in game number one, Arashi, that's definitely difficult, right? Like reverse sweeps are difficult, but not impossible. They were able to do so
Mhm.
up against Brazil, getting in the momentum and hoping to carry it to this series. They're just so good. I think the playmakers has to be Neo, and then you got Nell for the team. There's just really a lot of different combos, and I think for Argentina, they work really well with these synergized play from respective heroes, and I think they work so much better with a whole lot more CC in their composition. Because if you recall, in game number one for the first series up against Brazil, they didn't really have that much, so they kind of adjusted for their the next two rounds, and eventually got in the reverse sweep that they wanted.
Well, crowd control is always a great tool to have in handy, right? You can use it for a variety of different reasons. I'm on the personal belief that you can't really have too much crowd control. Crowd control is always going to be good. So I think especially when it's so macro heavy right now, the game, with all the macro potential from like Aloy and Chip we saw earlier, and even the Angela showing up again after being a bit less seen for a while. There's so many ways to punish that, but only when you have the right tools, the right kind of crowd control. So for Chile, the roster for today is going to be Annabel Erostello, Misla Akaneta or Akaneta Barrera,
Akanita.
Barbara hmm?
Akanita, I think. Another
Akanita.
Japanese inspired IGN, I think.
Is it?
A little
Maybe,
bit
maybe.
sounds like it though, but we have to ask. We have to ask her definitely after that. You got,
Mhm.
of course, also Venus Girly, Moonshow, and Cherub MB playing here for Chile. Again, we haven't seen these ladies play just yet. You've only seen Argentina, and I think Chile can pick up some notes on what went down in the first series. Right, it extended all the way up until game number three, and for Argentina, they already got the momentum here. For Chile, they kind of have to either stop that here for the first game if they don't want to get immediately swept here from Argentina's dominant 2 games that they've had up against Brazil for game number or series number one.
Right. So the question is how they plan on doing so, right? There's only so much you can kind of garner from watching tape, as we call it, or watching replays and seeing previous games. And so for Argentina, I guess denying them crowd control can work, but they also show a great deal of understanding when it comes to rotations, when it comes to when and where they're trying to make plays happen. I mean, Brazil tried to go for a lot of different surprising, what do you call it, like surprising split pushes. They've tried to use the diversion to try and get objectives around the map. But Argentina, within the span of several minutes, were able to immediately adjust and at least match the splitting that Brazil was doing. So for Chile, I think they have to understand that whatever strategy they have right here, it seems to work. they have to be ready for Argentina to come up with a solution. So while they do have the lead, while they still have Argentina kind of confused, they have to already be starting to prepare like the next play, the next move, right? Stay ahead and don't expect Argentina to just stay baffled for long because they've shown great adaptability here from match number one.
Yeah, I think that was a lot of like different combinations that they could have gone for. Like, I think they did not expect that high loss sideline pick, and it worked really well for them, right? For Neo, I think she was one of the game changers, especially when given the right heroes to enable her to actually make the plays. She was such a nuisance, especially for Brazil in game number 2 and game number 3. So if they give her that kind of hero that can be such a nuisance to the team here of Chile, they can definitely be able to advance, right? From start to finish, Neo was a nuisance with the X-Borg, with the high loss. So I think that is something that Chile has to consider, considering the performance there of Argentina for the first series of today. And now looking into this game, I think it's also going to be vital to see if it's going to be Argentina or is it going to be Chile that is going to be playing on the blue or red side. We've seen a lot of high success, especially if the team is on the blue side, especially over on the men's division. But here in the ladies, we have yet to see that unfold. The draft is going to be ready in just a little bit. And for everybody who just tuned in, if you guys want to get some updates, we also have another stream up. On the other side, it's going to be the finals for the men's division of the Americas Regional Qualifiers. You got Naisu and Mirko there, so don't you guys miss out. Check out the stats, the live stats over at IESF.gg. But now, Arashi, this is going to be Argentina on the blue side, Chile on the red, and that was really fast bans coming out from Argentina. They can do this, taking out some power picks like the Zas and the Turizla, and the Loi that seems to be such a hard hero to deal with, especially with the gangs. They take away the Roger here as well, something that can't be flexed in this lane, which means that the chip is open here, by the way. And the Zusin.
All right. Well, Argentina, with the more straightforward approach, immediately goes for the Tushin. Able to use it for great wave control, great fighting as well, which just seems to be their style, what they want to do. Now, against that, though, Minotaur already,
Mm-hmm.
will Chile opt for one of those global plays? Because it's going to be very difficult to try and pull that off when against a region that's kind of a bit more experienced, right?
Wow.
Experience seems to be the one factor that kind of limits the potential of those big macro plays. So for Chile, they go straight for this straightforward approach, right? Win in the lane, get some dominance, and win in those team fights with big crowd control tools as well. And technically, sustain can be a problem for the Tushin because you can, of course, spam out your lantern again, the lantern flare, and do damage. But once your mana is gone, if your opponents aren't dead by then, you have to wait for a while to get your mana back up. So sustain can be a great solution to come up against this new, very strong hero.
Ooh, that's a lot of magic damage though. They go ahead and pick up the Harriet here to amp it all up. You got the true damage from the Alpha, of course, to deal with the front line that Chile has picked up. It's actually looking really scary, especially for the Zusin and the Harriet. The Yuzong is just way too good at zoning out the back lines. They got a Minotaur to counter engage as well. For Chile now, will they go for the jungler pick? Because it seems like a lot of these bans are centered towards their junglers. So will they go for a fighter, perhaps an assassin? If you're talking about meta assassins, the Hayabusa is still up, the Fanny even. But wow! I
Okay.
did not. Okay, I was expecting maybe like a savior, a whole lot more range, maybe something like a Vixana, right? Anti-team fights, but wow, okay. A lot of people would argue saying that, okay, the Nana is just good for the ranked games, and it is pretty popular, especially in, the lower ranks from epic up until I would say mythic. This is always seen or almost on the ban list. But how is this gonna fare up against Argentina? I would say the Zusin has very good AoE. So does the Harriet. But will the Nana be actually enough to take down this first 3 picks of Argentina?
I feel like it depends, right? I feel for Chile, the idea is just again more crowd control, and technically, with all these aggressive heroes on the side of Argentina, every single one of these heroes so far, at least, are very close range or at least mid range at best, and that applies for the Harriet as well. So if you just put down a Molina, that can transmute you into the doll, right? Kind of guaranteed crowd control placed on the ground, you can kind of effectively deny or zone out a lot of these heroes that kind of want to get up close, that need to get up close and personal. And maybe that's the idea they want to go for, right? Just just use zoning to secure better team fighting. That is an approach we've seen before, but for Argentina here, the fact that they have secured the Harriet and they ban away the two solid gold laners here, Chile is kind of running out of options because they ban away the Roger as well. So you do wonder what exactly will be coming up here. If it's going to be team fighting that they're looking for, I think they need good. I was well, I was going to say good DPS, and Melissa definitely qualifies. And with the Galway, it's a great solution for all these heroes that need to get up close and personal.
The Harriet up against the Melissa. I've seen this pop up in the men's division. Had a good success rate under the hands of Melon of the United States, and now here against Chile's lineup, they got the setups here with the Yuzong and the Minotaur. They got the of course the burst coming out from the Nana. I'm actually surprised that they also took out the Martis here in the second phase for Chile. Actually, what is the idea behind that? Are they thinking that they might go for an XP lane Martis? Because most of the time it's actually going to be the Alpha on the jungle. They go in for more of the sustain here for Argentina, picking up the Ruby and of course the Grok here to add up to the setup plays that they can have. With this being said, is it the Ruby on the XP or is it the Grok on the XP? But if this is going to be the case, this might just be a Ruby XP. So a little bit of throwback to seasons ago. This is used, but in the current patch, it has been only in the gold, right? So not so sure. They want to have that extra lineup to go for the I'm offended. I was talking about the assassins earlier that were open. One of them was Hayabusa, and they lock it in for their final pick here for Chile. So it's an Alpha versus a Hayabusa here. How is that looking so far? It's a fighter versus an assassin here, Arashi.
In general, the fighters always do better against an assassins because you need some more items, and the fighters are usually tanky enough, and they have sustain sometimes. And Alpha definitely brings that to the table. My main concern for the Hayabusa isn't the Alpha though; it's the Grok, right? Having augmenting that wave clear in the mid lane to ensure that he'll be inside your jungle, spotting you, just kind of being overall annoying with the power of nature. Can't be crowd controlled. Extra tanky when he's near walls as well. If you're a Hayabusa, you're already somewhat vulnerable. Against a Grok, I think you're even more so. So he's gonna be forced to use that retribution a lot more often, a lot more frequently. And that might lead to Argentina just having an inherent advantage before the neutral objective contest even happens. So I think that's like the main challenge here for the side of Chile. Protecting that jungle, man, because if the Hayabusa gets rolling, we've seen how devastating it can be, especially with the new Sky Piercer, it's lethal. But if they fall behind in the beginning, man, that's gonna be so difficult to kind of recover from.
Yeah, I think that's the risk that they're willing to take with the assassin pick, right? Especially if you get picked off, you don't have the purple in all of these team fights, it's gonna be difficult for the Hayabusa, whereas the Alpha does not really need that purple buff. Say they don't have it, right? The urgency is there more for the Hayabusa. Now we see Nell using that lantern flare to its fullest potential, actually chunking down Venus Girly to half HP already. I think at some point the passive might get proked here for the Nana. Going back into the overall draft here, I would say Argentina has a good amount of like meta picks. Combine it with some of these I would say pocket picks coming out from their side as well. Miz being a nuisance here to their lane. But look at Nell though. Chunking down Venus Girly way too low there. Just tugging her, picking her up with the lantern flare, forcing her to back away. So clear advantage. Forcing Eros to use the retribution there as well is already a clear win here for the side of Argentina.
I kind of wish that maybe Nell would have rotated immediately to try and help out and make plays with that lane advantage, because that's one of those strong suits of the Chusian. They're going on arrows now though, but Limonchito will be able to try and peel back, but at what cost?
It's going to be Miz taking a lot of the basic damage. Attacks Venus Girly as well for the backup here. Lemoncito can go in for the dives here. Not enough just yet. They're focusing all their resources onto one person. But now we see Kata as well with that level 4 going over to the mid lane. Now bottom side's going to be a bit of a problem though. Riza all alone here as Lemoncito and Eros going to be rotating towards this side as well. Lots of pokes coming out from the Melissa here of Cherry MD. But over on the top side though, the Ruby seems to be doing well up against the Yuzong here of Akane. And here comes the backup coming out from Kata, forcing out the Black Dragon 4 way too early. So that's one utility out of the belt. Eros going in for doing a shadow kill. Riza gonna get outplayed, survives still for a bit, but it's gonna be a clapback as well from Riza. The turret damage is way too much, and now Argentina To go straight for this turtle without any contest at all, as Kata will be able to pick that up. I am offended, goes in, and the Spear of Alpha onto 2 members. It's gonna be Akane falling. Limoncito forced to flicker out to safety. Now Argentina deep in the base of Chile as well.
Just immediately pivoting towards the buffs immediately. I think that's a great move. And look at Riza trying to equalize. Cherry BMB might be taken out, but Riza, lacking the damage, finally secures it though. But she's gonna be chased down and still making a play though. Not realizing Limoncito is on the way. This might be a mistake.
No! Okay, still has the shields, but gets bursted down there by Venus Girly. Now we see Miz as well, forced to use the retribution again here for Eros. Lays down the quad shadows here for him to escape. And now we see the lantern flare being used here. And Minoa's Fury Eros flickers out here for Nell. Jerry MB gonna go in. One charge out the 3 members, but the damage not there just yet. Forced to use the Yogi Shadow kill here for Eros. Nell, Miz able to escape. That was such a beautiful setup, but unfortunately, Nell, it is more of the utility here for the Zeusin. So if you had a burst mage there, that could have been at least like a 3-man wipeout. But look at what Argentina is doing. They're cutting the waves down mid, right? A lot of pressure here being felt. Look at Neo. Being such a nuisance from the series #1 and all the way here. She's actually way too deep in. Gonna try to get in some I am offended here. Still able to sustain. Lemoncito forced to back away into the turrets. Look at the pressure being created here by Argentina. Black Dragon form is here as well from Akane, just to zone everybody out, but the turtle's gonna be up in just a little bit, so they won't go for more here.
In the grand scheme of things, I thought that Argentina would be more aggressive, especially the Alpha. 3 levels ahead already, finding ways to get into the jungle really seems to be prioritized for them, and now they go and do the same thing. Now you're starting to see them really prioritize the opponent's jungle over their own jungle. Because they do have the pressure in all of the lanes, not just in one single lane. In every single lane, that means that Eros needs to adjust and try and find farm gold and EXP somewhere else right here. If they want to go for a dive, they can punish, but I think it's gonna be a bit too costly if they're trading it for everything else.
Okay, there's some minion waves coming in. Eros gonna go in for Riza here, and the go away comes through. 1-for-1 trade-off onto the gold laner, but here it comes, the tug in from the lantern flare. Passive has been broke here by Venus, and there is the clapback. Limoncito as well, taking the damage, gets tugged right in by the lantern flare as well. Skata will pick up the kill. It is Riza for the price of 3 here on the gold lane. A hefty price to pay as Argentina pushes through the mid lane as well as the bottom lane.
It's just so unfortunate for the side of Chile, or maybe it's just very smart from the side of Argentina. The fact that they're gold laner, you see how Argentina's playing. They're just pressuring everywhere, going for neutral objectives, and they're leaving Riza to her own devices. But usually, the gold laner gets dove on because of that. But since this is a tankier type of gold laner with built-in sustain, built-in shielding, you're seeing that Chile is struggling to really punish the overextension as well. And Miz, once again, scouts and gets out. There's just not enough crowd control available for Chile to try and catch her.
Yeah, she just can keep on doing this, right? Like, can be like the combination here of Miz and Nell. It's way too much. Cherry MB gonna be forced to use in the go away, but with Kata's Spear of Alpha, she's gonna be taken down. Limoncita is the next one onto the chopping board. Venus Girly forced to back away, and that all happened under the turret there of Chile. Now we see the Black Dragon form here by Akane. Concealed play has been made here by Miz. Does not have the wild charge just yet. Akane's able to sustain as Eros gonna try to go in for some play here. There's way too much members here of Argentina, and now they go in and create more pressure. 8 kills here for Argentina and a 5k lead 6 minutes into the game.
A 5k lead and a 5 level lead for Kata as well on the Alpha. This is how difficult it is if you're an assassin and you're this far behind. Chile are powerless to try and get something for Eros. She makes a solo play though. 1v1?
Oh, what? Look at the damage coming out from the Cinco Fisher. Dive in and out, pops in the Salmon Force, and actually outplays! A double kill picked up here by Riza. Now Cherry MB a little bit too late there. Riza taken down real low. Guess it gets the dash out. Still has the Purify, but what was that? Eros trying to go for the gank, and now here comes the cavalry of Argentina. Cherry MB nowhere to go as Riza gonna get the final laugh in that team fight. Imagine going up against two under your own turret, able to outplay Limoncito and Eros at that. This is just way too good, man. 7 minutes, we have our last turtle of the game, but Argentina wasting no time as well, taking in as much neutral objectives as they can.
It's a 7k gold lead for Argentina at this point, and Kata is still just increasing the level gap. Eros got a level, but so did Kata, and at this point, neutral objectives are just not in the picture for Chile, man. They have to just find ways to get something, anything even, because Argentina is slowly but surely cutting off the map systematically. And Riza once again.
Okay, Riza. Eros gonna try to go in for the Yogi Shadow Kill. Does not survive! Riza is pretty much unstoppable at this point with the Herret. You dash in and out. You got the items that you need, and plus the Purify. Not gonna be easy to take here down. Now they go straight for the Lord. Look at how fast they're chunking it down. Riza dashing in and out with the Synchro Fisher. Kata will be able to pick it up with the Retribution. Argentina picks up the first Lord of the game.
A ton of true damage as well, man, from the Alpha built in and from the Starlium side that Riza has already built up. You can see that immediately Akane is just forced to just pop the Black Dragon form and get out of there, man. Not risking it at all.
Oh, no.
Charge, though.
Oh man, that was a beautifully laid wild charge there with no one to kind of frontline here for Chile. Right before the Lord taken, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be marching down bot here. Immense pressure being created here by Argentina on all the lanes. This is the beauty of having somebody to front for you for Miz, and at the same time you got in the Lander Fair from Nell. And look at it, the Crimson Beacon takes down Akane, and now the Yogi Shadow Kill. Will it be enough? It's gonna be Nell going down. They got in one. A 1-for-1 trade-off, but now Riza as well. A little bit too deep into enemy jumble. Goes in and gets in the Minoan's Fury there from Limoncito. Not enough to take her down. She still survives. The inhibitor down mid is gonna go down. A lot of minion waves crashing in here. Will this be the end for Chile? But Argentina gonna take down the turrets on the side. The Lord is still up, by the way, down bottom. But they've already taken down 2 inhibitors here.
Gonna be the moment of Blitz being used up, but look at that damage. Barely enough. And every single player from Argentina can heal it back up. With the Lord coming through right here, this is every single base turret. It could be the game as well, though, if Chile can't find a way to stave off this aggression.
They're going in for the muddles all the way down. Miz again lays in the nice wild charge here. Everybody's locking in the base. It is the Lord still diving in, still alive. Akane gonna be able to stay for a little bit. It's only Venus Girly left. Passive has been broke too, but with only her being blocked by the Gorgeous Barrier as Argentina closes it off, continuing their streak here onto the series. They get in game number 1.
As predicted, man, if Argentina gets rolling, it's so difficult to stop them. Really, it said that there's potential for them to snowball out of control, but the way they did it, man, where they went once they got an advantage, I was thinking that maybe in my own urgency, they should have gone there a lot earlier into the jungle of the side of Chile. But the moment that they decided that it's time to go in, they went in, man. Nothing was given at all to the side of Chile. They just kept moving behind enemy lines, and they just kept doing it in a very smart way. It wasn't just a straight walk-through. They picked and chose a when and which area of the jungle to go in from. And even though there were quote-unquote trades on the side of Chile, it always came at a cost. Riza always made it very costly for them to try and equalize. And as a result, with Eros trading her life multiple times to try and equalize the objectives, it means that she falls even further behind when it comes to farm, and you can see that really harm her presence in the game. I mean, later on, we might see that one moment where there was a 1v1, and I think Riza didn't even get taken below half HP by the all-in from Eros with the Ogi Shadow Kill.
Yeah, Limoncito as well. What's really hard there for the Minotaur, you want to be able to go for the instant engage, but how can you, right? Like, you get picked up here by the Lantern Flare, get tugged all the way in, and sometimes Limoncito actually is forced to use this Minoan's Fury defensively, and this was one of the outplays that I've seen. Beautiful outplay there by Riza. Eros didn't expect that that Salmon Force to still be available. Imagine that, double kill being picked up here, and was still able to clap back up against Chile here. A little bit too deep in, but the presence of mind is definitely here.
Man, there's just not enough damage. And look at what single empowered basic attack, 700 damage. immediately from the side of from Riza there. So the burst damage is the main problem here because you can see that even on a split second, the moment you make a mistake, you just get taken out immediately. And that applies even if you're the Yuzong, even if you're the Minotaur. Only the Nana is actually immune to the immediate pickup due to the passive, but you can't send the Nana to be the main front line. And look at the gold difference at the end of that game, man. It is just absolutely overwhelming.
Yeah, they were able to scale up really fast, and I think the momentum is a huge factor, right? Pulling off a reverse sweep in the first game and then going straight into this matchup with just 5-minute break, they were able to close it off in a 10-minute mark. And what was really the main problem here for, even though there was the Minotaur here for Limoncito to kind of have that instant setup, it was almost all the time denied here by Nell, right? Like picking up the Lantern Flare and making sure that Limoncito is not able to go in for the counter engage. There's instant burst right after that too, so immediately the combination here of Nell and Miz on the Grok here in the mid lane was just way too much to handle. As you can see, Arashi, there's just way too much gold. Even all of the turrets and the neutral objectives all went to the side of Argentina in this game. And to think they closed it out right after the first Lord, and by that time, Riza again with this Harriet was able to close it out with so much gold, and even was the carry of this game with 11 kills in total, despite the fact that she has been ganked several times here.
That's a 10-minute game immediately, and Riza, of course, is the player of the match. And the damage dealt by her, by the way, it's a lot higher than the Alpha, than the Tushin even. Even though there were fights and a lot of skirmishes where the Tushin and the Alpha can do a lot of damage, the fact that the attention of Chile is always on Riza allows her a lot of these moments to tank up some damage and dish damage out back. So it's not like she was left alone and she was farming and she just snowballed out of control. She was targeted and she found a way to turn it around, of course, with the assistance of her team. But I think it's just important to highlight as well how badly Chile were just being like pressured down, because I believe I saw earlier, Eros's XP per minute is lower than Lemoncito. So the Hayabusa has lower XP per minute compared to the Minotaur, man. That is what Argentina were able to do with the Grok, with the Alpha. Adjustments from Chile are essential right here if they even want to make it competitive.
Yeah, a back-to-back MVP here for Riza, who's just doing the work here for Argentina, getting in that MVP. And of course, it was not an easy game, suffering at least like 3 casualties from the start, but was able to take it all back for the side of Argentina, eventually winning in this game. We are now into the match point here between Argentina and Chile for the next matchup here, Arashi. But now we're going to go into a short break first before we head over to the match point. So don't you guys go away. This has been America's Regional Qualifiers for the Women's Division. Don't you guys go away. We still have more MLBB action after this short break. Back with us once again, Burger Kim and Arashi, still here joining you for the America's Regional Qualifiers for the MLBB Women's Division. Now, we're at the match point with Argentina. They've just managed to reverse sweep Brazil in the first game, and now they are 1 point away. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the America's B for the Women's Division, and they're only going to have one representative here for WEC. And I believe, with what we've witnessed, it might actually just be Argentina. So they're going to be going alongside their male division, going over to Riyadh once again this year. But again, they have to win this series, and I think pretty much solid, right? If you guys want to get updates, of course, you guys can check it out over at IESF.gg for more of the real-time updates. I know Liquipedia does have that update as well, but not as fast as what you get in the IESF official website. But for now, Arashi, we have to talk about this next game. Like, it's already a match point for Argentina, so I think for the side of Chile, they pulled off some of the power picks as well. Minotaur being prioritized. You got some pocket picks here and there. The Nana popping up here didn't really find that much success. So for Chile here, do they go to stick for comforts? I felt like they did that for the first game, but Argentina was just really way too good. And the Hayabusa pick though, also they locked it in for the last phase. Not so sure if they were thinking of that. Okay, the Hayabusa is open. Why not go for it? But let's see. We're going to be heading straight into the draft. Argentina this time over on the red side. Chile going for the blue. And if I'm not mistaken, it is going to be the losing team that has the prio on picking whether you're going to be on the blue or the red side. So Chile actually goes for the blue side this time. Let's see if this will actually be something that will work in their favor. They take away, again, a lot of the assassins here. Jungler options. And if I'm not mistaken, it was a Roger last ban there for Chile in the last game. So they can still flex the Roger here, leave it open. But okay,
Well,
so they're going to go for the same bans here.
exact same bans for now. I believe for Argentina, though, this Yu song wasn't banned in the previous game. I think Akane was the one fielding it in the Land of Dawn, so already a bit of an adjustment. And you have to wonder, right? With that kind of performance, technically they don't have to like actually make adjustments just yet. Mirko always says, "If it ain't broke, don't fix it." That's a common saying. Now with the Zask as well banned away, they're just trying to
Chip?
take away all of these early strong laners,
Wow.
but they allowed the Terizla in the hands of Chile. And we haven't seen this Terizla prioed as much. Now for Argentina, we have to try and wait and see on like what's the vision here. Is it going to be a similar composition, similar idea, but with different heroes? Because that is still very much on the table.
I'm thinking like will a Minotaur come through here for Argentina? Oh, wow. Mystic Kim. And they prioritize Riza's hero this time. Oh, wow. Okay, this is looking really deadly for Argentina. I'm kind of seeing shades of what I've seen in the previous match. They've worked with the Hylos and Angela in the mid, and the only difference is they're not going to be getting the Julian. So now Chile gonna be double downing on the setups here. They pick up the Tigreal here as well. I'm thinking if they're gonna go ahead and show their gold laner as early as now, or maybe they can go for some of the jungler picks, right? Since most of the assassins, most of the fighter junglers have already been taken out. So I'm thinking if they will go for that option, maybe steal away the alpha from Kata that he has actually picked up in game number 1, or will they go for something different as well? If they want to go for fighter route, go for the Martis perhaps here, anti-CC. Great early game, but it's up to Chile here on what they will pick up. This was actually banned away. I'm actually starting to see that this is something of a comfort for this region, particularly the Americas region, because this Clint seems to be popping up from the group stage up until the playoffs even of the men's division. So prioritizing it right now, going up against the Claude. I'm not really a huge fan of the Clint though. Great poke, but going up against the Claude, it has way too much more utility than the Clint, who only has the flicker out. They lock in the Benedetta here for Argentina. Still, I would say a flex, XP lane, jungle. Now they're gonna go ahead and take away more mid laners here for Argentina.
And for Chile, I mean, two solid, if you can get the Minotaur, get the Tigreal, combo that with the Terizla, and I'm kind of okay with the Clint. I mean, I'm guessing why he's so popular is the cowboy aesthetic. We are in the Americas after all, so I do feel like the laning phase is a lot better, and in the late game, it does an insane amount of damage. So
Oh yeah.
it still scales really really well. And funny enough, the weak point for the Clint is actually sometime in the mid game, depending on the power spikes of the opponents. So it's not really that bad of a pick in my opinion, but against the Benedetta right
Yeah.
there, that utility, that maneuverability you're talking about, Kim, might just become the deciding factor here. Of course, they can still use some of the tools like the implosion or the penalty zone defensively by all means, but that just opens the door for Argentina to just dive in all in with the Minion Fury, with the Blazing Duet as well. So I think Chile understands that. They're banning away ways for the side of Argentina to get to that backline, banning away the Martyrs that can maybe circumvent all of this crowd control, all of the stuns and knockups to get their hands onto the Clint.
Yeah, it's anti-CC.
Oh.
There you go. The X board
Yikes.
that has, I would say, 100%, almost 100% win rate here in the Americas. If you check in all of the games, twice it was used as a jungler in the men's division over in the playoffs, and now we've seen it used by Neo actually. Again, this does not confirm anything. Could be flexible between the Benedetta and the X-Borg. I think it's going to be boiling down to the last two picks here of Chile on where they want to put these two heroes. But based on, the stats on what we've seen in the previous games, Neo was the only one that held this X-Borg. So it could still be an XP lane and the Benedetta onto the jungler role. They need a mid laner here who can have great wave clear. A lot of the options are already out. They go for the
Ooh.
Zerot here for the instant burst. And combine it with the setups that they have here. They got the Lily as well to have that good wave clear. So now Argentina immediately picks up the Vexana as well for their side. Not gonna lie though, I like the lineup here of Argentina. They got tools to kind of initially or immediately engage here up against Chile. But Chile themselves, they also got themselves a Turizla and the Tigreal that actually banned away in game number 1. So hopefully this will be the game changer that they need. They got the Dirot here on the jungle as well. Great wave clear when it comes to the jungle creeps, but head to head with the Esports though and the Benedetta, I'm not so sure. And I think this is going to be the final lineup of Argentina. Not so sure if they're gonna switch up the heroes because if I'm not mistaken, I saw like Neo on the Claude, so I'm not so sure if that's going to be a switch up of roles in a matchup like this.
I feel like right now, on paper at least, there's more ways for the side of Chile to try and get a decisive fight. They have so much crowd control. They have a lot more DPS technically because Lilia is always good AoE DPS. You know, you can get resets constantly on those glooms if you've stacked up to full stacks. And the Clint that can hit everyone at the same time. But the problem is for the side of Argentina, they have the Benedetta, they have the Vexana, and these are all heroes that kind of scale up in value with execution. So I feel like Argentina has more outplay potential. But if both teams are just equal and just going at it, I feel like they should really favor the side of Chile here. But I do believe, especially with this Xborg pick, Argentina is going to make it so difficult for Chile to even contest vision and ground later on in the neutral objectives. So we just have to wait and see. They even have the sustain advantage too, by the way, for Argentina. That is some extra things that Chile has to keep in mind here.
Okay, so Lucid Dreams now on the Benedetta, so they filled out another laner here. Lucid Dream was also the jungler last time, and now with Kata in the picture, rocking in the Brave Smite. So you kind of want to go in full engage, especially with the Xborg, kind of maximizing that emblem to its fullest potential. Lucid Dreams also is something or somebody that you have to watch out for in this entire game. You got the Petrify and the Electro Final Blow that can be really deadly. You see Chile as well putting all of their resources down bot, but Miz is also there as well to kind of aid Neo in the early parts of this game. This is exactly what you can do with the Vexana though. You can poke. There was a bit of a miss out on the waves there because the Lilia Venus Girlie actually went all the way down. But I kind of forced the flicker out as early as now. So that's one resource away right before the turtle take.
No flicker penalty zone available. A great play by Lucid Dreams to cut the wave right there, right before the big moment. And Eros gets knocked up, but oh man, look at his damage.
Kata is going to be able to sustain, and now Last Insanity has been popped. Here comes the counter engage from Miz. Does not have the Minoan's Fury just yet. Air's going to try to go in for the dives, but it is not going to be enough because there's way too much pokes here, way too much true damage from the side of Argentina. No casualties just yet in the 2-minute mark, but Kata going to go ahead straight for this turtle, and it does not matter. You're just going to keep on regenerating your health, regenerating back your Firaga armor as long as you can keep this up.
Look at where everyone else is positioning, just ready to just punish immediately whoever walks up to try and find information. Turtle will be secured for sure. Look at Argentina immediately finding ways to capitalize, moving into the jungle, but Chile wisely understood that if they made a misstep there, the passive from Nell on the Vexana will just secure everyone, just blow up in everyone's faces. They back away, they secure the purple buff, and now they're preparing a defense for the orange. Eros makes an interesting move right here.
Okay, Minoan's Fury. Eros is able to evade all of that, and now they go for the counter days, blazing duet here onto Neos for the backside, taking down Cherry MB, and that's what you get when you have the Clint, right? Cherry MB was able to click that flicker out, but up against the blazing duet and BMI of Neo, that can just really outmaneuver a Clint. You definitely win the trades there, and now with all the gold plating being taken down there, this should give Neo a start advantage up against the gold laner here of Chile.
Okay, the items, Corrosion Sight ready for Neo, so an extra bit of utility. Akane seems to be going for an ice, a dominance ice first to try and deal with the sustain. That's a great option, but they're gonna need more than that. You can see that the orange buff immediately gets contested. Argentina just takes that away from Chile.
Eros.
So already, even though Eros is going with a stronger early game hero, he is getting punished equally bad. But look at that implosion.
Yeah, Limoncito was not even able to set things up there. Nell forced to pop in the Eternal Guard here as well. But whoa! Lucid Dreams. Venus Girly forced to pop in that the Black Shoes. It's not no longer available here as Neo gonna pick up the kill there. Cherub MB also in trouble here. Does not have the flicker in as Lucid Dreams gonna go all the way aggressive there. Does not have the petrify anymore, but it is all for the turrets, all for the pressure that they are creating down bot.
On the top side though, Chile trying to strike back, trying to equalize somewhat. But in the jungle, you can see that Argentina has their priorities in check. They know that they're going to lose a turret right there, but they feel like it's more value to just deny the jungler. Same way they did with Limoncito though.
Limoncito not able to use in that implosion, but instead it's gonna be Argentina clapping back here. Everybody chunked down real low. Akane forced to flicker in, trying to get the kill there. And now with that being said, Neo gonna be able to punish. Lucid Dreams gonna go all the way in, a little bit too deep, and the turret still survives as Akane gonna take a brunt of the damage coming out. Look at the dives coming up from Argentina. It's way too clean. They take down Akane with no casualties at all. And it's just the turtle spawning in the land of Dawn. The second one, there's just so many clashes happening all across the board. I would say this is probably almost a perfect, well, it is a perfect game so far for Argentina. 7 kills and no answers just yet from Chile.
These dives aren't even outplay heavy with a lot
It's
of immunities,
unreal.
with a lot of mobilities. It's just them going in and just out damaging. And the fact that they have Lucid Dreams on the EXP lane with a mobile outplay heavy Benedetta, this makes it so difficult because now Chile are constantly confused on how they want to trade, how they want to punish. Because the Benedetta can clear the lanes or even go for a kill if Chile misstep. Same thing can be said for the top side here. Look at this play by Akane though, trying to equalize.
Yep. Actually, Neo did not pop the Purify there, knowing that Miz has that motivational roar to kind of heal things up right after that. But that was immense pressure under the turret. Again, they can keep doing these dives as long as the Minotaur is there to set things up. And as you can see, there are attempts here from Limoncito to go in for the implosion, but most of the time it gets cancelled out here by Miz. The stomps coming out from the Minotaur, right? Like even before Limoncito can get set things up here with the implosion, just like that, she gets bursted down here by Neo and Nell. Way too much to take in here for Argentina's Lucid Dreams. It's gonna be a nightmare here for Eros. They just do the cleanup work. Venus Girly does not have the Black Shoes any longer. 3 members down again. No answers from the side of Chile. Such a dominant game here from Argentina. 10 kills. And look at the lead. 14k for Chile and 21k for Argentina. They managed to take in some turrets here, but they have to do more than that.
7,000 at 6.45 minutes in the game, and
Oh,
not
no.
done just yet. Going immediately for the pick of Akane. Flickers out. Limoncito though tries to recover somehow.
No implosion just yet. Miz goes in for the Minoan's Fury here. Eros gonna get tugged in and bursted down there by the Eternal Guard of Nell, and even Limoncito can't do anything about that. And now, even under the turret, there gets the implosion there. Nell's gonna be taking a lot of the damage in, able to flicker, or not, rather dash out to safety. Neo though says not today. We're gonna be taking this turret and we're gonna be taking a kill as well. 7 minutes into the game, the last turtle is up here for the taking. Argentina in the cleanest game that we've seen so far here in the Americas qualifiers, not unless Akane will be able to get the pick off. Purify out there from Neo, able to evade the penalty zone, and there was some strike here from Eros.
Easy outplays from Neo, man. And that wasn't a respectable attempt at making an outplay from Limoncito. Unfortunately, they have to be all on the same page, man. You need backup if you want to try and make a play like that. You can see the items for the side of Chile. Only 1 item generally for each member, which is severely behind the members of the side of Argentina. I believe Neo is close to the 3-item power spike, even so now. And look at how easily they can deal with the pushes on the other side, with Lucid Dreams just clearing it out. And Chile are just powerless. They tried to make a trade play on the far side of the map, and even that was not allowed by Argentina.
Lucid Dreams, man. Nightmare for the side of Chile here. Not even able to convert to the turret. I think that's what they were gunning for at that point, right? Like, get that turret up top, trade it for the Lord. At least they get in some neutral objectives. But no, Lucid Dreams just says, not today. I'm gonna deny all of that. Able to clear out the waves really fast. Now Argentina gotten this Lord that should march down mid. They should be able to take in inhibitors or second tier towers here. But look at the damage from Neo. Wow, that was 2 bursts. But even the Clint though is starting to hurt here from Cherry MB, forcing Neo all the way back. Lord is going to be marching up top rather, so the tier 2 should go down at this point for the side of Chile. 9 minutes in. Such a dominant fashion. We're waiting for the setup here for Miz. He has a flicker available here. Are they going to go for it? And there you have it. The initiation and the last insanity. The electro final blow to petrify Venus Girly. Unable to pop in. The black shoes just way too clean here for the side of Argentina as they siege this middle tower though. Eros gonna get tugged in there by the basic attacks. They do get a clap back here onto Lucid Dreams. So everybody's falling down real low with the motivational roar. They are able to sustain 4 members down with just the price of Lucid Dreams getting taken down there.
They're going for the base turret on the top side as well. They might get the mid tower as well. Ooh, look at the damage, man. The burst, but look at the Mosito!
Wow! The 4-man implosion, 3-man implosion, but the follow-up was just way too late. And now, for the side of Argentina, they are able to sustain. That was such a beautiful implosion onto 3-4 members here of Argentina, but without the follow-up, right? Chile was not able to capitalize on that.
It's so unfortunate, man. I was hyped up. I thought it was time for Chile. And Limoncito is on the hunt, man. She is looking for every single possible opportunity. But she needs to kind of chill out for a bit. If you're looking at the goal difference here,
12K.
12K at this point. So she has to wait, because even if she lands the perfect implosion right there, she has to make sure that everyone on the team will follow up at the right moment and land the damage. Because we talked about the potential for everyone's AoE to kind of work together. If everyone followed up at the exact moment there, it could have been a turning point for Chile. So they have to work on being on the same page first before even thinking about winning these fights. Whereas for Argentina, I feel like that was a very unwise play to just go and brute force the base turrets. But I guess when you're 117, when you're 12K goal ahead, Argentina does whatever the heck they want.
Yeah, I think at this point, right, with a 12K lead, you're that confident to be able to take in this game, right? Not unless there's a massive implosion. I think that's the only one left to take in here. I think for the side of Argentina, they're gearing up that fact, making sure that all of their lanes are covered here, making sure that Chile can't even reach that lured pit. And now it's gonna be spawning. Just a few seconds, 4 seconds to be exact. They do pop in the light there as they have that information that it's going to be Argentina starting up this Lord. It should be an easy take, and they got a Claude here. I don't think there's going to be any attempt, though. It's going to be really dangerous, too, because if they do try to contest for the Lord here for Chile, and with how ahead Argentina is, it could actually result to a wipeout, and Argentina going in for the straight put. And there you go. They've lined up. They've lined up down mid. Spamming in those recall.
Man, Argentina, you gotta feel like it's inevitable at this point. Even if Chile can try and mount something, there's the Purifier in the hands of Neo as well. So even the best of implosions can't seal the deal. But let's wait and see, because Miz is looking for a play for sure.
Yep, flicker in there from Miz! And the Eternal Guard from the backside. Eternal Guard is dishing out so much damage as the last Insanity as well. Gonna be able to clean up the work. Eros, the shutdown onto Neo though by Akane. But will that be enough? Because Trace Turret is gonna be chunked down to half HP. Everybody's down, falling down real low. The shutdowns are coming through here for Chile. But Argentina says no, we are gonna be closing out this game with a sweep. A 2-0 for the Argentinian team.
A literal brute force attempt, man. There's no other way to put it. They traded lives to try and make sure that the game ends right there, right then. They have no interest in prolonging it any longer. 12K gold lead, I guess it's just no problem. And we already said Miz, you can see it from the way she's moving, man. She got her eyes on the prize immediately. She was just circling around, dashing left and moving left and right. That's just, you know, the aggressive look, you know, when you're trying to intimidate your opponent, just stomping around. It's exactly what that was. I called it out, and immediately the play happens, and it was on the right time as well. And it all began from the early game, right? The fact that Chile went for more aggressive laners, right? Aggressive jungler as well, to try and maybe get some more control here, to try and get something against Argentina. But in the grand scheme of things, especially in these fights here, you can see that the AoE from Argentina was just used to its full potential. And despite having a Lilia that in paper can output more damage than the Vexana, the amount of utility on top of the damage that Nell was able to bring for the team is part of why Chile is just always on the back foot. You can see that whenever something is thrown in the way of Argentina, Nell will just immediately stop it, and that's where Miz has all the freedom to just go for these aggressive plays because she is not busy trying to play it defensive. She is aggressive minded all the way since the beginning.
I think this is why the Minotaur gets prioritized heavily by a lot of the teams here. It's an instant way to engage. It got the heal here, and most of the time you see that, Miz is not even wasting any single moment. As long as the
Man.
flicker is up, man, she just goes in for the play, and it always almost catches Chile off guard. This was the last or the first takedown there by Chile onto Lucid Dreams. And by the time they got in the second Lord, right, like all they needed to do was siege in the base. The siege potential is huge. They got the Eternal Guard, they got the last Insanity. There were some shutdowns here onto Neo. A double kill picked up by Akane, but it's not gonna matter, right? Like, you only had one member left to defend here, which was the Clint that managed to get that shutdown, but unfortunately, all eyes on the prize. It was the base that was locked in, and Argentina gets in that clean sweep here in this game. 12 minutes and 23. Look at the damage, though. I think at this time it's a bit at par with the Claude and the Vexana. Like you've seen most of the time, they've had such a good game, right? Like Miz was able to set things up for the marksman and the mid laner. If you're actually Lemoncito here, you'd be so upset, right? You've already suffered like 6 deaths. Every time you try to go in for an implosion, you either get poked here by the Vexana or the Claude, and then get the cleanup work from the Xborg or even the Benedetta here. 12 minutes in, and look at how much Argentina has actually taken in. And I think it was a fair balance of like who was making the plays. It was an overall team effort, I would say, from Argentina, and they were able to play it out really well here for this last game.
I think a very telling stat here is the fact that the tank Limoncito did 10,000 damage. Not a lot of damage. It is more than arrows though. That is how badly the shutdown was. Taking a look at the MVP though, gonna be Neo. I don't know, it's not really a surprise at this point, but man, it's just so dominant. And you just have to appreciate the plays from Neo herself,
Yeah.
but also the synergy from the team, right? It seems like from the beginning there is already a storyline, like a design on how they were supposed to play it out. They traded turrets, by the way, to ensure that Eros did not get to play the game at all. And I have to say, looking at the final result, it paid off, right? You wouldn't think that shutting down the jungler, taking away the buff, would be more important than a turret. But the way with Argentina and how they are perceiving this game, I guess it's just they see the line of Donna differently compared to us. So I gotta say it's very impressive. And considering the stats from Eros for the past 2 games, I think you can't really deny the efficiency and the effectiveness of that approach, man. Because the roamer doing more damage than the jungler, man.
Yeah.
We were talking about how the jungle is the most important role right now. Not when this happens, you know?
Yeah, I think what really stood out for me too is that if you really remember clearly what happened in the first series between them and Brazil, it was actually Neo on the XP lane. A high loss, even the Xborg, right? And when I saw the switch up here, I was like, okay, Lucid Dreams on the XP, and then Neo again being a threat. And I think her presence was felt, especially in the last 2 games for the first series, and even here for this sweep up against Chile. Good try though for Chile. They did have that experience this time heading into the qualifiers, but it is going to be Argentina that comes up on top, finishing it up real strong. But for now, Arashi, we are going to be having quite the long break here before we head over to Americas A, because that was Americas B that just finished, right? So it's more or less going to be Argentina that will secure that spot to WEC. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go on to a short break, or rather a quite a long break. So grab your refreshments, get in some time to get that breathing room before we head over to Americas A. So don't you guys go away. Stay tuned here at the IESF Americas Regional Qualifiers for the women's division. We'll be right back with more MLBB action.